G'day YouTubers, I will preview this week's round of the AFL games. Before I start, it will be muchly appreciated if you can subscribe, comment and like. Every subscriber will be very much appreciated. Alright, let's get the show started. Let's go, yeah. My tips after round 23 are, I selected the Swans to beat the Dommers. Yeah, Sydney won. The second game, I tipped Gold Coast to beat the Demons. No good. Melbourne smashed them by 50 odd points. I tipped the Giants to beat Rio. Yeah. And I got the two games of Collingwood against Brisbane wrong and St Kilda beat Geelong in upset. So I got those two games wrong. I got the showdown right with the Power being the Crows. I tipped the Doggies to beat the Kangaroos. The Bulldogs won by 90 odd points with the Darcy kicking 7 goals. I tipped the Hawks to beat the Richmond. Woohoo! And the last game, unfortunately, in my video last week, I selected Cowden. But then all those injuries, and I changed my votes on Saturday to the Eagles. I'm disappointed with myself. I should have just kept the votes. And unfortunately, I selected the Eagles to beat the Blues. Therefore, after round 23, I selected 5 out of 9 games correct. And my total in season 2024 after round 23 is 125 votes. Let's see what I vote or what I tip for round 24 and see how I go this time next week. My 3, 2, 1 for the Brownlow votes after round 23 are, in top spot is P. Cripps Houghton with 34 votes. In second spot is N. Dacos Collingwood with 30 votes. And 3 players tied on 29 votes are L. Neil, Brisbane, C. Sarong, Fremantle, and A. Chulor, Western Bulldogs. These are my 3, 2, 1 Brownlow votes after round 23. Given that there's only one game left with a maximum of 3 votes available and P. Cripps lead by 4 votes, I declare the winner in my Brownlow votes to be P. Cripps Houghton. My preview for round 24 games. On Friday night is the first game of the week between Melbourne and Collingwood. Both teams cannot make the finals unless Collingwood win this game by 200 plus points and rely on other results in their favour. Fremantle, Cowden, Hawthorn and the Doggies all losing. The players in the mix for the Demons are McAdam and Ben Brown. For Collingwood, their players in the mix are Dean, McRae and Allen. The players injured for the Demons are Windsor, Spargo, Oliver, Petrarca and May. The Magpies will be missing DeGoey, Harrison, Mychek and Mitchell. If we compare the ruck midfield setup on both sides, you got Gawn in ruck against Cameron. I expect Gawn to dominate against Cameron, also around the grounds, in addition to his hitouts. Then you got Salem against Nick Dacos. Nick Dacos, top 5 player in the league at the moment. Brilliant effort against the Lions last week. I expect him to dominate against Salem. Then you got hard inside mid Winey against Jay Dacos. Winey will get the ball on the inside. Jay Dacos is more outside. Josh is. Then you got Rivers against Cripps. Pretty even between those two players. And then you got Sparrow against Pendlebury. Pendlebury, as I say every week, one of the best footy IQ players in the league. Just knows how to position himself. Looking at the ruck midfield setup, I give the advantage to Collingwood. Even though they got Gawn, who win all the hitouts, or not all, but majority of the hitouts. But the midfield, they're missing Charco and Oliver. And if the Collingwood Magpies get enough ball inside 50, they'll have plenty of scoring opportunities. I'm going to tip Collingwood to end the season on a good note. The next game is between Geelong and West Coast Eagles. The players in the mix for the Cats are Hughes, Hardy and Parfitt. For the Eagles, their players in the mix are Cully, Marek and Chesser. The players injured for the Cats are Guffey, Hawkins, DeConning, Closey and Edwards. The Eagles will be missing Brockman, Stewart, Long and Sheed. If you compare the ruck midfield setups on both sides, you got Stanley against Williams. Pretty even between those two ruckmans. They're more your athletic types. Then you got Holmes against Kelly. Holmes is a good quick outside player. So is Kelly, but I'll give the chocolates just to Holmes. Then you got Dempsey against Yo. I expect Yo to dominate against Dempsey. Then you got Stewart against Reid. Stewart, all-Australian fender, but they've been playing more in the midfield recently. And Reid, what a first year. What a fend-off. Good young player. Say it's even between those two players. Then you got Dangerfield against Dewar. I expect Dangerfield to dominate against Dewar. So, looking at the ruck midfield setup of both sides, I definitely give the advantage to Geelong, and they'll provide so many inside 50s, and they're playing at GMHBA Stadium, so I expect Geelong to beat the Eagles. The next game is between Richmond and Gold Coast. I have no idea who to tip for this game. Last week, Richmond got smashed by the Hawks, and the Demons smashed Gold Coast as well last week. Both teams lost by over 50 points, respectively. For the Tigers, the players in the mix are Sonsey, Dow and Cumberland. For the Suns, the players in the mix are Lukosius, Sextons and Atkins. The players injured for the Tigers are Lynch, Green, Gibcus, Lafu and Grimes. The players that will be missing for the Suns are Ainsworth, Graham, Casper and Tisastas. If you compare the ruck midfield setup of both sides, for the Tigers you got Nane Kervers against Witts. I expect Witts to dominate the hitouts. His tall 206cm frame. Then you got Ranto against Anderson. Both outside players. I expect Anderson just to get the chocolates over Taranto. Then you got Presti against Rao. Rao inside bull midfield dominate. So is Presti. I'll give the chocolates to Rao. Then you got Banks against Closely. Say it's even between those two. Then you got Hopper against Flanders. Hopper gets a lot of possession, so does Flanders. Say that's in between those two players. Look at the ruck midfield setup. I give the advantage just to Gold Coast Suns. The game's played in Melbourne. Gold Coast has only won one game away. That was against Essendon 2 weeks ago when Andrews kicked the goal after the siren. However, I'm going to tip the Suns to beat the Richmond Tigers for this game. The next game is between Hawthorn and North Melbourne, played in Tasmania. Last week, Hawthorn easily beat Richmond, and North Melbourne got smashed by the Western Bulldogs by 90 plus points. The players in the mix for the Hawks are Huswaite, Mitchell and Ward. The players in the mix for the Kangas are Phillips and Stevenson. The players injured for the Hawks are Blunt, Butler, Lewis and Day. The players injured for the Roos are Combine, Goda, Common Jones, George and Lowe. If you compare the ruck midfield setup on both sides, you got Meek against Zeri. Zeri's probably my top 3 ruckman this year, so I'll give the chocolates to Zeri over Meek. Meek's been doing well this year, but Zeri, third best ruckman in my eyes for this season. Then you got Newcombe against LDU or David Shinyaki. Pretty good battle between those two players. Hard inside players. Can get the ball also on the outside. I just give the chocolates to David Shinyaki. Then you got Nash against Simpkin. It's pretty even, those two players. Nash is taller midfield, so I'll give the chocolates to Nash. Then you got Moore against Phillips. I expect Moore to do pretty well against Phillips. And then you got Weddle against Powell. Also, I'll give the chocolates to Weddle. Looking at the ruck midfield setup, I give the chocolates to the Hawthorn setup, and based on the amount of inside 50 entries they'll provide to their small forwards of the Wizard, Watson and Dinnerman, I'm going to tip Hawthorn to win this game. The next game is between Brisbane and Essendon, played at the Gabba. Last week, the Lions lost to Collingwood by a point, and Essendon lost to Sydney on a Friday night game. The players in the mix for Lions are Lyons and Ainsworth. The players in the mix for the Dons are Wright, Sedgefield and Hine. The players injured for the Lions are Payne, Gardner, McCarthy, Coleman and Dode. The Bombers will be missing Golfy, Ridley, Reid, Baldwin, Dersma and Cox. If you compare the ruck midfield setup on both sides, you got Oscar McInerney against Draper. I just give the chocolates to the big O, McInerney. Then you got McCluggage at Durham. Two good midfielders. McCluggage is pretty also good on the outside, so I'll give the chocolates to McCluggage. Then you got Neil against Parrish. Neil inside mid, also hits the scoreboard, gets a lot of possession. Parrish gets a lot of possession on the outside, but I'll give the chocolates to Neil, who's been in good form in the last month. Then you got Dunkley against Merritt. Dunkley extracts the ball more on the inside. Merritt is accumulator on the outside. So that's even between those two players. Then you got Berry against Caldwell. Both players are more outside. Caldwell's been doing good recently and he's just signed a new contract extension. Berry has more experience and I'll give the chocolates just to Berry. Looking at the ruck midfield setup, I definitely give the advantage to Brisbane, and if they get enough inside 50s where they provide enough ball movement to their forwards of Hitwood, Danaher and Cameron, I expect the Lions to kick a massive score, and therefore I'm going to tip the Lions to beat the Bombers. The next game is between Sydney and the Crows. Sydney beat Essendon on a Friday night, and the Crows lost to the arch rival Port Adelaide in the showdown. Players in the mix for the Swans are Shellerick, Laddams and Corey Warner. The players in the mix for the Crows are McHenry, Smith and Dowling. Players injured for the Swans are Papley, Edwards and McInerney. The players injured for the Crows are Rankin to concussion, Butts, Parnell, Pedler and Miller. If you compare the ruck midfield setup on both sides, you got Grundy against O'Brien. Will be even in terms of hitouts. I expect Grundy
to contribute more around the ground, where he contributes as a midfielder and gives a lot of possession to his teammates. So give the chocolates to Grundy, just. Then you got Jordan against Dawson. Jordan is a tagger, so his job will be to stop Dawson getting many possessions. And if Jordan does his job well, he will limit Ali's ball move. But I just give the chocolates to Dawson. Then you got Rowbottom against Crouch. Rowbottom and Crouch are both inside mids. Rowbottom can have impact on the outside, so I'll give the chocolates to Rowbottom over Crouch. Then you got Chad Warner and Saligo. Both players like to extract the ball on the inside, but Warner, with more experience, has more elite on the outside than Saligo. So I'll give the chocolates to Chad Warner over Saligo. Then you got Gordon against Berry. Berry hard inside midfielder, whereas Gordon go inside, but is more outside and one of the top 3 kickers in the league. He destroys many teams with his outside kicking. I'll give the chocolates to Gordon over Berry. Therefore, looking at the ruck midfield setup, I give the advantage to Sydney, and therefore I'm going to tip the Swans to beat the Crows on the Saturday night. The next game is between the Western Bulldogs and the Giants. Players in the mix for the Doggies are Caulfield, Keith, Sanders and Baker. The Giants, their players in the mix are Alir and O'Halloran. The players that the Doggies will be missing are Johansson, Smith, Croft and West. The Giants will be missing Bahi, Riccardi, Cumming, Bruce and Rosen. If you compare the ruck midfield set on both sides, you got Tom English against Briggs and ruck. I'll give the chocolates to English. Then you got Bontempelli against Tom Green. Both tall, big body inside mid, but Bontempelli has more scoreboard pressure. I'll give the chocolates to Bontempelli. Then you got Chalor and Kelly, both outside players, but Chalor can also go inside. But both players mainly find a lot of possessions and distribute on the outside. I'll give the chocolates to Chalor. Then you got hard inside mid, Libba against Ward, both hard inside midfield players. Say it's even between those two players. Then you got Williams against Callaghan. Callaghan, good young player on the outside. Williams, elite kicker on the outside. So I'll just give the chocolates to Williams. Looking at the ruck midfield setup, I expect the Bulldogs just to win in this area. And if they do, and put enough inside to their forwards of Norton, Ugo Hagel, Darcy and Waitman, they'll kick enough score to win the game. The game's playing Ballarat. The Western Bulldogs know how to play at that ground, at Mars Stadium. So I'm going to tip the Duggies to beat the Giants. The next game is between Carlton and St Kilda. Last week, Carlton had a good win against West Coast, and St Kilda caused an upset and beat the Cat. Time of this recording this video, it is unknown whether McKay and Kerno are injured still, but I'm going to assume that they are. The players in the mix for the Blues are Lemmy and Wilson. For St Kilda, their players in the mix are Schoenmaker, Garcia and Patton. The players injured for the Blues are Cunningham, DeConning, Durden, that's Sam Durden, Sarah, Cottrell, Doherty, Savani, Sard, McKay and Kerno. For the Saints, they'll be missing Ross, Crouch, King, Radness and Henry. If you compare the ruck midfield setup on both sides, you got Picknott against Marshall. Marshall is also top 3 player ruckman in the league. I expect Marshall to dominate against Picknott. Then you got Cripps against Philippou. Cripps, premier midfielder, my leading Brownlow, or my favourite to win the Brownlow. Big body mid. Philippou is also a tall mid at 192 centimetres. I expect Cripps to get the chocolates over Philippou. Then you got Kennedy against Hill. Kennedy, hard inside mid, can also kick goals. Hill, great speed, going outside. It's going to be even between those two. Say it's even between Kennedy and Hill. Then you got Hewitt against Steele. Steele, inside hard midfielder. Captain for the Saints against Hewitt. Goes inside, but can also kick a goal or so. Say that's even between the two. Then you got Walsh against Hunter Clark. I expect Walsh to dominate against Clark. Walsh can get the ball on the inside, but with his elite endurance, he can run all day. He'll accumulate a lot of ball on the outside and provide enough forward inside 50 entries. So looking at the ruck midfield setup, it's pretty even between those two. With the spate of injuries that Cowan's got, and St Kilda's doing very magnificent in the last month, based on the Saints ruck midfield setup and Cowan's injuries in the forward line, I'm going to tip St Kilda to give Cowan the Blues. The last game of the week is between Rio against Port Adelaide. Fremantle lost to the Giants last week and Port Adelaide beat the Crows last week. The players in the mix for the Dockers are Walters, Erasmus, Aish. The players in the mix for the Power are Lorenz and Sin. Players injured for Freo are Pierce and Corbett. The players missing for the Power are Houston to suspension, Marshall, Soldo, Finlayson and Powell Pepper. If you compare the ruck midfield setup on both sides, you got Jackson against Sweet. Jackson, athletic. I'll give the chocolates to Jackson over Sweet. Then you got Young against Butters. Butters is good on the outside. Young is get the ball on the inside, but he's got one of the best kicks in the league. Say we just give the chocolates to Butters. Then you got Sarong and Rosie. At this stage, Sarong can run all day, doing very well. Rosie still hasn't been 100% since he's recovered from a hamstring injury. So I'm going to tip Sarong to get the chocolates over Rosie. Then you got Brayshaw against Wines. Wines is more of inside mid. Brayshaw is inside, but is accumulated on the outside. I expect Brayshaw to get the chocolates over Wines. Then you got O'Meara against Drew. Drew's a hard inside mid. Same thing. O'Meara will get a lot of ball on the outside, and Drew's more inside. And I'll just give the chocolates to O'Meara. And look at the ruck midfield setup. I give the advantage to Fremantle's ruck midfield setup. And looking on this, Fremantle needs to win this game. They need to rely on results leading up to this game, where they need to hope either Hawthorn, the Doggies, or the Canton to lose. And if all three teams win, then this game will be irrelevant for Fremantle. Whereas Power need the Giants, the Cats, and all the other teams to lose in order for them to stay second spot. Given what I said earlier about the ruck midfield setup, I'm going to tip Fremantle to beat the Power. My votes for round 24 are Collingwood to beat the D's, the Cats to beat the Eagles, the Suns to beat the Tigers, the Hawks to beat the Kangaroos, the Lions to beat the Bombers, the Swans to beat the Crows, the Doggies to beat the Giants, the Saints to give the Blues, and Freo to give Power the hee-ho. Thank you for watching my video. If you enjoyed my video, it would be much appreciated if you can comment, subscribe, and like. Every subscriber will be much appreciated. Hope to see you again next time. See ya. Cheers.